All right, class, good to see you again, maybe. This is lab 1-2, looking at our AC meter practice. So the AC meter practice is, the objective is to properly connect and correctly read an AC voltmeter and AC ammeter. So we just did 1-1, we connected up voltmeters and ammeters to DC. All I've done is I've just now flipped up that circuit to an AC supply, connected up my fluke meter as well as my AC voltmeter in parallel with that source. My source is now my AC supply, and then I've got my AC ammeter connected up in series with that cone heater up top, as is drawn up here. Now pay attention, we don't have any polarity requirements with this because our polarity is constantly going back and forth 100 or 60 times a second. Okay, so what they're going to ask us to do, so my ammeter, it says they wanted it from the 0 to 5 amp range. I don't have that. I've got 0 to 0.5 to 2.5 and then an 8 amp range. I've started in the 8 amp range because I know we're going to get greater than the 5 or greater than the 2.5 here very quickly. Okay, and my voltmeter, I kept that at the 250 volt scale because I just wanted to ensure we weren't going to push it beyond the 100 volt range. Okay, and we will utilize our fluke meter to give us a guarantee once again. So I'm going to turn, my power stat is at the 0 mark. I'm going to turn my power on. Okay, and what they're going to ask us to do is slowly increase the voltage and record it when we see 1 amp of current flowing here. So I'm going to be focusing on my AC ammeter. It's in the 8 amp scale, so I'm looking at the bottom here. I'll just maybe zoom in on that and see if you guys can see it. Okay, I don't know if you can make that out, but the bottom here is the 8 amp scale. Okay, so we got 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8. And actually, if I just zoom back a little bit, because you're not going to be able to read the voltmeter on the other side too clearly, but what I will do is I will just keep us focused in on the fluke meter and my ammeter. Okay, so we're going to increase this up. We're looking for 1 amp, so that would basically be that first solid dash that we're going to see there, and then we'll record the voltage that we see coming out. So for 1 amp, we're looking at about, here again we're fidgety a bit on that power stat, about 20, I'm going to guess at around 25 volts, 26 volts. It's kind of bouncing a little bit. Let's say 26 volts AC. I know it's bouncing between 26 and 28, but we're also seeing 22 show up. It'll get better once we increase it a bit more. Okay, so we're going to go to the 2 amp range. This power supply sure is finicky right now. So we're looking at around 40 volts. Okay. And then we're going to go increase it up to the 3 amp range. We're smoothing out a little bit better here. 67 volts there. Okay. And then we're going to increase up to the 4 amp range, which is right there. And we're about 89 volts. And then we're going to go up to, what do they want us, up to the 5 amp range, which is basically burying that, and we're seeing about 107 volts. Okay, so then we're going to reduce that back down. We'll power down. And then they ask us to keep everything still connected, I think. 1 second. Once you record your measurements, turn the power stat to 0 and turn the main breaker off. Replace the 0 to 5 amp to the 0 to 10 amp ammeter. We're already at the 0 to 8, so we're okay. And what they want us to do is at the 30 volt, 60 volt, 90, and 120, record how much current we have coming out. So at 30 volts, this is that finicky area here. We're sitting in the range of 0.5 or 1 amp, 1 to 1.1 amp, somewhere around there. Okay, and then we're going to go up to 60 volts. We start to smooth out a little bit as we get higher. .60 volts, and we're sitting at just shy of 3 amps. So if I were to look at this exactly, we're at the 2. We're greater than 2.5. I'd say 2.75. Okay, then we're going to go up to 90 volts. Okay, and we're looking at 4 amps. And then I'm just going to bury it. I don't get the 120. We don't get that here at DW Poppy. So we're at 107. So I'm just going to change that 120 to 107 because that's all we have today. And we are looking at just shy of 5 amps. So about 4.8. That's about the best I can give there. About 4.8, 4.75, something like that. Okay. So I will zoom back out again here. Pardon the palm. All right. Maybe have it so you can actually see me a little bit there. And that would be lab 1-2, AC meter practice. Okay, we'll see you in the next one.